God's plan to prosper the gospel will not be frustrated. And our part in that plan involves prayer. I love this. Look how the chapter starts, chapter 12. It starts with this king named Herod. He's laying his hands on these leaders of the church, and he executes James. That's how it starts. But you know how it ends? Look at verse 20. It ends with him in agony, being eaten with worms and dying. And then verse 24, but, and that's great, there's a contrast, you see? He's saying, the King Herod is dying this awful death, but, verse 24 is what this whole chapter is about. But the word of the Lord continued to grow and to be multiplied. Hallelujah. Man, I got to read you. I found Josephus was an ancient historian who lived in those days, and he wrote an account about Herod dying here. It matches right up with the Bible account. Listen to what he wrote. He said, at Caesarea, Herod exhibited shows. They called games together. They had a bunch of games that they called shows in honor of Caesar, knowing that this was celebrated at a festival for his welfare. There came together for this occasion a large number of provincial officials and others of distinguished position. On the second day of the shows, he put on a robe made of silver throughout, of quite wonderful weaving, and entered the theater at break of day. Then the silver shone and glittered wonderfully as the sun's first rays fell on it, and its resplendence inspired a sort of fear and trembling in those who gazed at it. Immediately his flatterers called out from various directions in a language which boded him no good, for they invoked him as a god. Be gracious to us, they cried. Hitherto we have reverenced you as a human being, but henceforth we confess you to be of more than mortal nature. He did not rebuke them, nor did he repudiate their impious flattery. But soon afterward a pang of grief pierced his heart. At the same time he was seized with a severe pain in his bowels, which quickly increased in intensity. He was hastily carried into the palace, and when he had suffered continuously for 5 days from the pain in his belly, he died in the 54th year of his life and the 7th year of his kingship. He stands up at the beginning of the chapter and persecutes the church and tries to shut down the gospel. And at the end of the chapter, he's lying in agony and dying. But, verse 24 says, the word of the Lord continued to grow and be magnified. Amen? And in the middle of all of that, we have the church who's together praying.
You can watch the entire message at cedarcrestbfc.org or watch more clips at alivetogod.com.